Hey guys, it's Algenon,
And it's me, TheNonah.
and welcome to our talk show. So today, this is episode 15, and we're going to be discussing friendship competition and what it means to us and how to really just ignore and get out of that situation.
Yes.
And we're going to ask each other questions, and we're just going to talk about a little bit of our experiences on that, and to just really truly realize, what nobody needs to be in competition with anybody but themselves.
Yes. So I want to give Algie more of the spotlight for this particular video because it might be a little bit more interesting to hear his side of it. He probably has a little bit more experience with that. And I can just add a little bit of comment. Okay, Algie?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then we can go ahead and just more on the topic, and anyone who can relate, please let us know. Found this pretty relatable in some way or interesting. Yes. So I want to ask Algie, because it's mostly his topic today. What is friendship competition? Your definition of that?
Okay, my definition of friendship competition to me is when somebody is very truly insecure within themselves, and anytime they see their friends being happy, or if they buy something really nice or whatever, they feel some type of way.
Yeah.
So almost like a little jealousy, a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then they want to start copying you. Whatever you got, they got to buy it too. Or if a style you got, they got to have that style. Or just emotional too. Emotions, everything. And that's like my definition of friendship competition.
Yeah. Do you remember any recent situations or anything back when you were still, in school, where you kind of dealt with that in real life, not just, on social media and stuff?
I did. I dealt with it a couple times.
Really?
Well, actually, a few times. But I remember this one. It's a situation where this guy I used to be friends with, he would always want to be happy like me, and always want to be straight up forward and be honest like me. But he wasn't keeping it real though with nobody else though. He was not even keeping it real with himself. So, like for example, anytime when I'll talk about what I like to do, like shop or I like to cook or whatever, then all of a sudden, weeks later, he wants to do that too. And sometimes it'll be kind of confusing because he'll kind of like try to dress like me or
want to be like you.
Yeah, basically want to be like me, and I'm just like, what is your problem, man? Like, just be yourself. Like, why are you doing all that extra stuff? It's not that serious.
Yeah. But would you consider that person like someone you just kind of know, or is it just within the group, or what do you?
It was in the group. A few times. I met this person in the group that I was in.
Really?
And I just didn't notice it until like later on, because I really don't notice stuff until like later, and I'll just be like, why are you doing that?
Oh.
Just think like that's supposed to be cool and think that's supposed to be fun or whatever. And it's like, no, that's not funny.
Was he like trying to like one up you, basically?
Basically, yeah.
Wow. But were you able to like kind of confront him about that, or?
I mean, I confronted him about it. I mean, multiple times. I confronted him about this, and it's like he would ask for advice on like fashion and stuff like that, but then yet gets mad when he has to do some stuff that he knows that is not in his budget, and have to like basically make everything a competition. The cooking, the clothing, the attitude, and just so many different things. I'm just like, you're the same age as me. Why are you acting like that?
Wow. I didn't know that somebody would just kind of impersonate you in that way.
And it will be like all the time. And I'm just like, you are trying way too hard. Why why are you doing this? It's
And
not
it's
that
so
serious.
yeah, and it's kind of sad because it's like you should try to be your own person and kind of showcase more of yourself. And I know like during, sometimes in your life you just don't know who exactly you are. Like you don't know who you identify yourself as or like who you are as a person, your personality and all that cuz you kind of figure it out along the way. But the fact that somebody just kind of wants to be in your shoes literally is kind of odd to say the least.
And it's odd and it was so confusing because I just think about it this way. Any outfits that we wear, that either if it's designer or non-designer, it does not make who we are.
Yeah,
It's just clothes.
I wouldn't I wouldn't just call somebody like, "Oh, like they're just being super extra." I mean there's a point where you're kind of extra with it depending on how much you show that. But I don't
Right.
think it should define you in that way, like entirely as a person. I mean, it's nice to
Right.
express yourself, obviously, but I mean that's besides the point. But yeah, I mean it's just kind of weird how somebody just wanna like do the same exact stuff as you, and it's like it's a little weird. I've never heard of a situation like that before,
Me
like
either.
in real life.
Me either at all. And you know what? Like I always tell people this all the time. You have to know who you are personally. You gotta know who you belong to. Okay. You always have to know, like, hey, look, I'm strong. I'm a confident person. I belong with God, and that's what keeps me whole. That's what
Absolutely.
keeps my strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength. That's what you always have to tell yourself if you are a believer.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes with people, what they like to do is when they're not happy within themselves and they have personal stuff going on at home, right? And when they see somebody that's not going through what they're going through financially or personally, they feel some type of way. And I'm not just talking about in our age group. This also happens, at church. This happens college. This happens anywhere you go. And it's really sad and embarrassing. It really truly is.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
really
truly
is.
sad and embarrassing because like as an adult, you know who you're supposed to be. You're only supposed to be in competition with in yourself, not with nobody else, and live your life.
Yes.
But it's starting to become a point where people who have kids and teaching the kids this, and it's like you don't teach your kids to be jealous of people, and for what? How's that benefiting you? You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we need to start realizing who we're really truly hanging out with, and who we,
Yeah.
I
feel like you always have to evaluate and reevaluate the people who are like surrounding you. Because sometimes they can influence you to be a certain way, and it's not always for the better. I don't want to sound like negative about it, but sometimes that's what it is. And that's why I kind of just bring up that point of like it's fine to be by yourself, figuring it out, and all that stuff. Like you don't always have to constantly feel like you need to find like a person or a group every single time just to like figure it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that, a friendship competition? Have you ever been in any situations or experienced it like that?
I don't know about that, but like I would just kind of brush it off because then some people would be, like in certain conversations, they'd be like, "Oh, look how many people I have on my Facebook, like my mutual friends." Like it's just one of those things, like on social media, like who has the most followers and all that. And I think that's sort of like something that has happened to me before, where it's like they compare who follows who and like the amount of people that they have following, and like as if they're like super popular and all that, like they're all up there, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know that kind of friendship competition, like who has the most friends. But I would never like take it so personally. I'm just like, at least I know who my real friends are, you know what I mean? Because I think that's such a big deal. Because like even if you have like a whole list of mutual friends, like I even can look at my Instagram and my Facebook, and I realize that I don't even talk to more than maybe 4 people on average. Um, even though I have a certain amount of followers, I don't necessarily know all those people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I would say like that's kind of like the friendship competition, but that's more like a social media thing. It wasn't a real life thing, honestly. It's not something I've dealt with in real life. Hence, I let you take this topic a little bit more.
Right, of course.
Yeah. But what would we advise people who are undergoing this type of situation? Because I think it's super important to kind of send a positive message for the people out there.
I would say this. You have to start watching people's signs.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to really truly start paying attention. You know, after you have like a good conversation with somebody, how they actually receive it and how they project it out on you.
Yes.
And once they do that, leave them alone.
I know.
You know, because right there, just sit back and watch because they just really truly tell on themselves, and that's their true colors.
Oh yeah, those true colors. Oh my goodness. I've been in so many situations where I didn't realize that somebody would just talk behind my back or say things about me. And that's what's really toxic about thinking you know somebody and putting too much trust into somebody, especially if you don't know them very well. Yeah.
And just really just sit back and observe. Sometimes you don't always have to respond to certain stuff.
Sometimes you don't always have to be the center of attention.
Right. Sometimes just sit back and be like, oh, okay, this is what it is. All right. Well, all right.
That's what I kind of did in high school. I wasn't necessarily in that center of attention all the time. I was always just kind of at the sidelines, you know what I mean? Because I just kind of observe what everyone is doing, and I don't really relate to every single conversation that's been, communicated back then. But I was just kind of like, reserved, and then like if I have to open up to some people, I don't have to open up to, everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think that's where I can definitely tell like how people are truly if you just watch. See how they talk about people, see how if they like gossip and all that stuff, that's the type of person they are.
And see how they actually trust your personal information.
Oh yeah, and that's where it's a little bit risky.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Especially your own business of like stuff that's going on at your house or anything like that. I would never ever mention that stuff as if it's a casual thing to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, we just wanted to make a quick video about this. Algie, thank you so much for coming up with this topic. I think it's pretty cool how we can come up with like all these interesting ones, and it's pretty like relatable in a way. I hope some of you guys can relate to it. If not, I'm just glad you guys even clicked on this video.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So please stay tuned for next week's content. Now we still have to discuss what we want to exactly, talk about. But once we do, just watch out for that. We usually post either Thursday or Friday, it seems. Because I think our schedules kind of work out better that way. So look out for that. But other than that, I hope you guys had a pretty good day.
Hope you have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.